Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Burning Hintz Fantasy Football. I'm Matt. I'm here with Hinty. We're doing running back rankings, the very few running back rankings for this year's draft, and then we're going to go into our predictions for skill players in the draft this year, which we did a little bit of, but things have changed in 2 weeks. We know how it goes. So running backs, the guy on the bottom, Brees Hall, is pretty much the top guy for most expert predictions. You want to go through a little bit of each guy and what you like about him.
Yeah, we'll just start with Brees Hall since he's the best in this class. He's pretty good all around. His biggest knocks are basically pass blocking, and that's basically his big knock. So I think that whoever lands him will probably utilize him pretty immediately. He's not like a guy like I could see Isaiah Spiller falling a little bit and being used in more of a committee. I feel like Hall's probably going to be a workhorse back.
Yeah, stuff I've been hearing from Brees Hall is just he's a very complete back. They don't really worry about him in the receiving end. Every basically rookie has issues with pass blocking just because they don't really teach that in college, it seems. And when it comes to Kenneth Walker, I think the big dig on him has been he hasn't shown the receiving touch, whether that he has it or not. I know that the head coach has been talking to scouts saying, "Oh no, he can do it," but until you really see it, it's tough. So they've been doing more drills during his pro day and stuff like that. And pass blocking's a big concern for him. And then Spiller's just production wise, just not on the caliber of the other two when it comes to it.
Yeah.
So I know Brees Hall I've seen sneak into the end of the first round, but generally we're looking at these guys going like 2 to 4. I don't know if you've seen anything different.
No, I've mostly seen the same thing. I think I've seen Brees Hall sneak in and a few mock drafts here and there in like the back end of the first, and Spiller and Walker are day 2 picks. Hopefully, if they fall into day 3, you're looking at probably not going to be as heavily utilized or really much value.
Yeah, I feel like this is what happens with running backs every couple of years, right?
Yeah.
It's every once in a while there's one that's a top back, but I remember the Melvin Gordon draft, it was just Melvin Gordon and then nobody else. And then, every couple of years there's just no real blue chip guy, which is more and more common.
Yeah.
It was a little disappointing, but it is what it is. All right, so we're going to swap over into predictions. So we're going to go into quarterbacks first because they're more fun, let's be honest. Do we want to start with the draft QBs or the guys on the potential block?
Let's go with guys on the potential block.
Yeah. Okay, so we both agree that Jimmy G's not going to get moved prior to or during the draft. Do you think he's going to get moved at all?
I think that he might get moved closer to the beginning of the season. If someone loses their quarterback or something, it might not even doesn't get moved until the quarterback gets hurt during the season. But I don't see him being the starter, and I don't see them cutting him. So I'm sure they'll find a way to trade him if someone needs it.
But. Yeah, my concern is all the Debo rumors right now, and maybe not having the cap space to move him because Jimmy G's taking up 25. So I could see him trying to get him moved quickly in the summer so they can get that deal done. But I think we both were in agreement that we don't really see Debo getting moved. Just the Niners just have all. It seems like the players have the leverage now, but it feels like the Niners, if they just don't want to trade him, they're not going to trade him. It goes that simple. And then we're differing here on the Baker news. I think everyone was pointing to the Panthers at first, and then they were pointing to the Seahawks, and now some people are starting to point back to the Panthers, but you still have the Seahawks, and I have the Panthers going for them. Anything you want to discuss about that, or versus one versus the other?
I will say, I think the Panthers have been pushing it more. I've been seeing more and more that the Panthers are pushing for him. I don't know. The more and more I look at it, I'm like, if Baker goes to the Panthers, like I feel bad for Panthers fans just because that's not what they need. Whereas I feel like if Baker went to the Seahawks, like it could be enough for Pete Carroll's system to operate because all he wants to do is run the ball and maintain the game,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is very doable. So I'm not sure it like I would say there's also a very good chance that he just doesn't get moved during the draft, but I wanted to make one of the two guys move, so I went with Baker to the Seahawks.
I find it a little hard to believe that he won't get moved. I just feel like they're gonna have to cut him if he doesn't get moved. So they'll take like a sixth or a seventh for him, worst case scenario. And the reason why I can go for the Panthers is just because you got a coach in desperation mode, and he's already shown that he doesn't like rookie quarterbacks. And why go for a rookie quarterback this year when you could have gone for one last year? So it doesn't really make a lot of sense to not go after either like Jimmy G or Baker. I'd prefer to have Baker, to be honest. I just think he's got a little more of a ceiling. Not that I like his personality much more than Baker, but it is what it is. It's a 1 year deal, at least, for whoever gets him. It's really just a tryout, and the next year they can go forward whoever they want. But I'd just be disappointed to see this to the Panthers go. I hope they trade down or they get Evan Neal, but we'll see. Just feels like the better long-term option because I don't see the current coaching staff being a long-term solution at this point. So we can start at the top. We're both in agreement with Malik Willis. We don't really see. I've heard stuff about the Steelers potentially trading up to get him and hoping they can just grab him in the early teens, which I guess is possible if they've been trading up more often than recent. More often than not, like they did that Devin Bush trade up a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely a possibility. Any thoughts on that?
I don't think they'll trade up. I don't like there's just so much talent in this draft outside of the QB position. I don't think there's going to be a lot of teams taking them. I mean, I know I've seen crazy mock drafts where they're like, Malik Willis, number 2 overall to the Lions. I'm just like, there's like, yes, the quarterback position is important, but like, it doesn't help if it's not a great quarterback. I think Willis has a chance. I think he has a pretty high ceiling if he pans out, but I think the Steelers can probably just sit there and wait for him.
Yeah, I've seen like some drafts where they're like, we're gonna have 4 QBs in the first round, and then I've seen some with like 0. So I think the latter is more likely. I could see honestly like no one drafting a quarterback until like the very end, sort of like that, and do like a Teddy Bridgewater move, like when the Vikings went and reached the last pick of the first round to grab it, and then the Lamar Jackson too did both of those just to get that 5th year. The 5th year option's a big thing for quarterbacks, so that's the only reason why I see at least like 2 guys going in the first round. It just makes more sense for the teams, on this contract issue in year 4. And now we have Kenny Pickett. You have going to the Panthers, which we talked about last time. It makes sense. Most pro-ready guy. And then I have Pickett falling to the Saints. I just feel like Dennis Allen wants a young guy who he can kind of mold behind. He doesn't have to play right away. Obviously, he's ready to play if they want him to. But I think that Sean Payton's not coming back. You can't just say, hey, come back, Sean. After you already hired this guy as a head coach, so he's going to need someone long term because they only signed Winston to a 2-year deal. So there's that question.
Do you have? Is that one of the Saints' 2 first-round picks?
Yeah.
Okay.
They could pretty much use whichever one. I don't think the Eagles or the Chargers are drafting a quarterback, so it sounds like the Eagles are very happy with staying with Hurts for now, because that's going to be right before I think 19, and then Steelers are 20, right? So it'll be. I mean, it's possible that they flip flop, but it's Willis to the Saints and Pickett to the Steelers. But we both have Corral at the Lions. I'm assuming I sort of have it at 32. I think they're 32.
Yeah, I have it at 32 as well. I just think that it makes sense for what you said earlier with the fifth year option. And
5th year option, yeah. He's a guy who can move. Not that it's weird. The Lions. I was listening to this one guy talk about the Lions, and that it's like a really good destination for a young quarterback because the only thing they have really is like a great O line. So you have a great O line. You potentially could have like you have Amon St. Brown and then another receiver. They got DJ Chark, and then they probably gonna get another receiver in the draft because just they have so many picks. And then there's no pressure. So
Yeah.
kind of a nice spot. On to Desmond Ritter. I'm assuming you have Falcons in the second round picking him up.
Yeah, I have him going second round to the Falcons. I mean, they're not going to stick with Mariota, and I just think that I could see them taking a shot at a quarterback just in case he pans out.
Yeah.
Which is what Ritter is. Like Ritter's not he's not going to pan out. Like there's a chance that he still pans out. So I could see the Falcons just taking a shot, seeing what happens. If it works out, it works out. If it doesn't work out, they're probably going to be in the top 5 again next year and take a first quarterback in the top of next year's draft.
Yeah. Ritter just seems that I've gone to the Seahawks. He's just like a project, super athletic guy. He kind of like fits a little bit like Russell Wilson. Like he can move, he can do all that. So it kind of fits what the Seahawks maybe want to do. I don't think he's about as seasoned as Russell Wilson was when he came out, but Russell Wilson did like 4 years at NC State or something and then went to Wisconsin and was very successful at NC State. And then Sam Howell I felt was the most difficult one, at least for me. You have him going to the Saints, and I got him to go to the Colts. Two kind of similar positions.
I think both of those make sense. I mean, obviously you have Pickett going to the Saints. I thought that the Saints would wait till the second round, and that's where they would pick up their quarterback potentially, just letting it drop, seeing if they can get a guy and seeing if he fits into the system or not. Because I feel like they're going to move forward with Winston because that team is still win now. So I don't see them spending a first-round pick. I think they're probably going to grab – I have a wide receiver going there, and then I think they'll probably grab another defensive piece or an O-line piece.
Yeah, it's a weird – Saints are weird because they're win now, but there's no way in how they're sniffing a championship. So it's like, let's be very competitive and try to play Tom Brady buster. I guess that's sort of what the position is here. So at wide receiver, you have London going first out of the receivers, going at 8 at the Falcons. I have London falling because there's been reports of him not being able to work out because of these injuries, and there's worries about his speed because he hasn't run a 40. So I could see him falling out of those top 2 spots, the Jets and the Falcons, and then the Ravens saying, hey, why not? Because I feel like they've been sort of looking for that second receiver outside Hollywood, and hasn't really happened. It's just been Mark Andrews doing the whole show last year, which was pretty impressive. But
I still think that he's going to go to the Falcons. They don't have any wide receiver depth there, and they have Pitts, but they can't use Pitts for every play. So I think getting a guy like London who's going to just be so versatile, I just think it makes sense as a landing spot.
Yeah, the Falcons, I think we looked at their depth chart 2 weeks ago, and it was Contavious Facus, whatever that guy's name is, and that's pretty much it. We're in agreement at Garrett Wilson at 10 to the Jets, and honestly I could see them reaching for one of the receivers at 4 and saying, hey, we'll take whatever defensive player falls to us at 10, so they just get whoever they want over the Falcons. I think that's not a implausible decision.
Yeah. It would be very Jets-like for that to happen.
Yeah. Going on to Treylon Burks, who's your favorite, I'm assuming Lions in the second round, I'm assuming, top of the second round?
Yeah, I have the Lions potentially trading up into the first to get it. I think that, he's going to fall, I hate it. I just think that he's going to continually fall down the list, and I could see the Lions trying to trade up to grab him.
Yeah, it's weird. There's so many receivers, someone's bound to fall. And I remember Ballard from the Colts basically said that this receiver group's so overrated, shitting on him, all this stuff. Maybe it's a sneak that he wants to get a receiver in the second round, but someone's gonna fall. There's just too many too many receivers. And I have Cowboys just because I mentioned he's an
Yeah.
Arkansas boy going to Jerry Jones. He wants the highlight guy, and it seems like they can never get enough receivers. But then they keep trading him away for some reason or letting him go. So Jameson Williams, you have the Saints, and I have the Eagles. So we're looking at the same range here.
Same spot. I don't have the Eagles taking a receiver.
Yeah, they took one last year. It's just I think these are two teams that like they're in win now, but they're not like totally like balls to the wall win now. So Williams kind of makes sense as like a long term. We're trying to win in the next 2-3 years to like start going to the Super Bowl. Olave, Cardinals for you, and then I have the Saints for me. Cardinals is a big one that's now coming up with the Kyler Murray drama.
Yeah, I have the Cardinals grabbing him because they're basically dumb in terms of like they're just like we need these small speedsters basically. So they're I think for them again, Burks is like the best fit for them. I think that they're gonna grab Olave and just make every Cardinals fan very, very angry.
They've not been good at receiver evaluation. Remember they got Kirk and didn't really use him that much, and then Isabella, who hasn't really seen, and they got Moore last year, and they kind of used him. It just Hopkins was a good trade, but it's a difference between drafts and NFL free agency and trading. We are both in agreement on Dotson.
Yeah,
it's bittersweet for you, but it's just I think it's just a bit of homerism for us, but it's a common link we've seen.
You look at like what Rodgers wants in a receiver. He wants a good route runner, and that's what Dotson can do.
Yeah, and he's a seasoned dude. He knows how to play. He's been a number one at Penn State for now 2 years, so it's not like anything new for him. And then we both have Christian Watson to the Chiefs, which is kind of interesting. I just feel like it's whoever falls to them. I don't think they're, what are they, 28, 29? So they sort of at the
29-30.
29-30. Yeah. Yeah. So whoever top guy falls, and it could be you never know who's on everyone's board. It could be, Pickens, Mechie, Sky Moore. It's sort of crazy with the receivers at this point. So now we're hitting the home stretch with the running backs. You have Hall going to the Texans, I'm assuming, the second round, right?
Yeah. I don't have any of them going in the first round. I think they're going to fall, and I think the Texans will probably go Hall in second.
Gotcha. Yeah, I have the Texans getting Walker in the second round. I think they're going to go running back. I mean, they got all these running back talent last year, and then all of a sudden they trade everyone away or cut everyone. It was like, let's trade Mark Ingram, let's cut Philip Lindsay, and then I have the Bills taking Hall just because the Bills are so weird with the running backs. They like Singletary, they don't like Singletary, they like Moss, now they don't like Moss. It doesn't seem like they really can decide on that. So hopefully this is their solution. And then you have Walker going to the Ravens to add another running back to the Ravens staple, because I'm sure another one will get hurt this year, right?
Yeah, I think I think that both Walker and Spiller will be third round picks. I don't think either one's going in the second. And I like Walker to the Ravens because, from my understanding, it sounds like they're not sold that Gus and Dobbins will both be healthy at the start of the season.
Yeah, and will it be the same even if they're back?
Apparently they were talking to Melvin Gordon, so I just think that I could see them grabbing a running back in the third round, and I think Walker will be there for him.
Gotcha. Yeah, then we went with Jets and Chargers for the last running back pick. I think the Jets, they just have so many picks. It's an obvious choice they could get another running back, even though they drafted one last year. I think the Chargers they need his insurance policy if they're going for the championship this year. So any type of premium player. Well, running back's it's like a very important position, but at the same time they don't value the position or players who play the position. So I can see them going for a impact player at the running back position.
I I
Go
picked
ahead.
Spiller to the Jets because I mean that is it's a defensive Shanahan guy, but it is a Shanahan guy in New York. So I think he will probably use multiple running backs. So
Yeah, it's a Lafleur. It's Lafleur's little brother, so it's going to be still this West Coast running game
yeah.
type offense. Anything else you want to highlight or talk about in regards to the draft?
I think that's everything. I'm just excited for. It sucks that my team doesn't pick till Friday, but
Yeah, boring. Mine's going to be a heart attack, so we'll see. Hoping
yours will
for.
be early and then probably devastating, just like last year's.
Well, I'm hoping something happens like the day of the draft before the draft starts, and they like either trade down or get their quarterback, or just something to just. We'll see. Could be six at a quarterback, and it'll be interesting. I'll support it, I guess, but
So, who's your dream person to land for the Panthers here?
Panthers. I want them. I want them to go with Baker, I think, and then either get Neal or trade down. I just want
Okay.
more line. I don't trust this. I kind of want this year to go like 6 or 7 wins, and then Rule get canned, and then we start anew. I'm worried whether I'm trying to figure out whether it's the coaching staff or the owner. Like, is this a long term embarrassment franchise now with the new owner? So we're getting the next 2 or 3 years whether I might actually like consider jumping ship if it continues to be such a. And it's not so much being bad; it's being embarrassingly bad and like being made a joke of on like sports podcasts. So
Yeah.
it's not fun. We'll see. I'm not going to put in 20 years of hope with like the youngest, richest owner owning the team. So we'll see. He had I don't know if you saw the run in with the South Carolina government that he had. They were
No.
building a training facility, and he wanted funds from the South Carolina government, and they refused. And then they were like mid project, and he said, "All right, it's off the table." And you can see the facility, like the beginning of the facility construction, is just sitting there, like it's just there. So he took his ball and left. So we'll see if they even stay in Carolina. But whatever, we'll see. Hopefully it's as good as your draft last year. But yeah, we kind of fumbled it last year. We'll see. Anything else you want to bring up?
Nope.
All right, guys. We'll have a good time with the drafts. I know I will. And then we have a lot of boring stuff after that. Just a little bit of where the rookies go, and then the long, boring age of sports. I feel like is that unless you're a baseball fan, which I guess you're a baseball fan. So, all right, guys. We'll see you in a week or two.